If you would please take your seat. The sixth meeting of the House Education Committee will come to order. Also, would you please silence your phones in order to avoid interruption? I need to make some clarifications for remote members. Remote members can be considered present and vote on bills if you are participating from the annex office. If you are participating remotely, but not from the annex office, you can participate in the discussion of a bill, but you will not be counted present and you cannot vote. When you join the meeting remotely, your microphones were automatically muted, so please remember to unmute your microphone before speaking. If you have any questions or comments during the meeting, please indicate that in the chat section. With that, Mariah, will you please call the roll?
Representative Baker?
In person.
Representative Banta? Here in person. Representative Bojanowski?
Yes, I'm here in person.
Representative Decker?
Present.
Representative Donahue?
Yes, ma'am. Present.
Representative Dossett?
Present in person.
Representative Lewis?
Here.
Representative Massey?
Here in the room.
Representative McCool?
Here.
Representative Miller?
Here in person.
Representative Gibbons-Prunty?
Here in person.
Representative Rayburn? Representative Scott?
Present in my annex office.
Representative Timoney?
Here in the room.
Representative Tipton?
Present in the room.
Representative Weber?
Here in the room.
Representative White? Representative Wilner?
I'm here remotely.
Representative Carney? Representative Riley?
Here.
Chair Huff?
Present. We do have a quorum and duly constituted to do business. Our first bill for consideration this morning is Senate Bill 101, an act relating to career and technical education and declaring an emergency. Senator Higdon, if you would come to the table, introduce yourself, and if you have any guests remotely or other, and you may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. Certainly appreciate you hearing this bill this early on a morning after a long night. So thank you very much. And I'm driving solo this morning. Senate Bill 101 is a piece of legislation that's been in budget language since 2008. So what this does, it takes it out of budget language, puts it in statute, and basically what it does, it allows an area technology center to transfer to local control, take the money with them that the area technology centers receive, and then after 1 year they only receive 75% of that funding. Two schools have taken advantage of that. This bill closes the window on this program at the end of the year. Two schools have taken advantage of it, and so this locks their funding in from now on and closes the program. And
On the bill by Representative Tipton, a second by Representative Massey. To see any questions? Representative McCool has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Matt. Senator, I appreciate you bringing this bill forward. I just want to make sure I understand this is not a mandate by anything, is it? It's
No, sir.
If they want to volunteer, and I appreciate that clarity. Thank you
yes,
very much.
sir. And we've talked a lot about ATCs, and this is strictly voluntary.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Seeing no further questions, Mariah, please call the roll.
Representative Baker?
Yes.
Representative Banta?
Yes.
Representative Bojanowski?
Yes.
Representative Carney? Representative Decker?
Yes.
Representative Donahue?
Yes, ma'am.
Representative Dossett?
Yes.
Representative Lewis?
Yes.
Representative Massey?
Yes.
Representative McCool?
Yes.
Representative Miller? Yes. Representative Gibbons-Prunty?
Yes.
Representative Rayburn? Representative Riley?
Yes.
Representative Scott?
Yes.
Representative Timoney?
Yes.
Representative Tipton?
Yes.
Representative Weber?
Yes.
Representative White? Yes. Representative Wilner? Chair
am-
Huff?
Yes. Senate Bill 101 passes with expression of opinion that the same should pass. Thank you very much, Senator.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee, and blessings to each of you these next 4 days. 5 days now, and we'll get through this. And thank you very much.
Thank you. And our last bill for consideration is Senate Bill 270, an act relating to post-secondary education and making an appropriation therefore. Senator McGarvey, if you would come to the table with your guest, each introduce themselves and you may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, members of the committee. Morgan McGarvey, State Senator, District 19.
Gerald Neal, State Senator, District 33.
We've got Senate Bill 270 here before you today, a bill that passed unanimously through the Senate and I think does some wonderful things for Simmons College in Louisville. I'm going to let my colleague, Senator Neal, give you a brief history of what that means for Simmons College and for Louisville.
Basically, Simmons is an institution, one of two HBCUs.
Senator, excuse me, would you turn your mic on, please, so they can hear remotely? Thank you. Oh, it is?
It's on.
Okay, maybe. Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Simmons College is one of two HBCUs in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, one being Kentucky State, and of course the other is Simmons. And Simmons has a long history in the Commonwealth. It goes back into the 1800s, post-Civil War era. But it was an educational institution that had great value in the Commonwealth then and has significant value in the Commonwealth now. There was a period, particularly during the era of the Depression, that Simmons struggled, but it still persisted, and it still is a viable organization or provided educational opportunities throughout that period as well. But now, Simmons has come back with a roar of a lion. It's established itself in my district, 33. It has revitalized areas of the community by its presence and its work. It's provided an opportunity for young people to have educational experiences that if not for Simmons, would not have those educational experiences. And they're going on to other schools as well. Well, now they're at a crossroads in a sense, that they are poised now to take the next step. But what this, I'm going to defer to my colleague with respect to the substance of this, but what this legislation does is that it opens the door for Simmons to step into not only the competitive framework, but also to serve the community in a greater fashion, but also open the door up wider to young people for educational services. And the amendment to this particular bill also is welcomed as well, because it also puts Simmons in a position to benefit the community, the surrounding community, in very, very significant ways in terms of the needs of that community. So I appreciate you allowing me to express this, but it may seem small on the radar of some individuals, but this is huge in the context of what Simmons does in the community.
Yeah,
Thank you.
We have a motion on the bill by Representative Dossett, a second by Representative Massey. Do we have any questions? Representative Tipton.
Thank you, Senator McGarvey. Senator Neal, I appreciate you bringing this forward. I also noticed in the legislation, could you talk a little bit about the one-year pilot project as part of this legislation?
Thank you, Representative Tipton. And this was an amendment by President Stivers in the Senate, one we thought was a great addition. A couple of things to give you some background on this. First of all, HBCUs only account for 3% of colleges nationally. But within that, they account for 80% of black judges, 75% of black doctors, 50% of black teachers. This bill creates a teaching program at Simmons College, which is a good thing. We also saw under the Trump administration record funding for HBCUs. We have reason to believe that that is going to continue in the administration that's in Washington now. The portal created between K-State and Simmons College will enable them to help possibly get some of this funding. And that pilot project that's put up there, it allows these universities to work together in conjunction with the neighborhood place with Simmons College to begin studying the effects of health, education disparity, food insecurity in the area around Simmons College. We think that this will help produce better outcomes, it will help the students in research, and it might attract some of the money that will be coming to HBCUs from Washington.
Yes.
I noticed that as I read the legislation, the students at Simmons would be eligible for the Kentucky Tuition Grant, and I assume that this language change is necessary because they're not accredited by SACS.
That's correct, Representative Tipton. But we have also talked to KHEAA, AIKCU, EPSB. All are on board with this change for them to get the Kentucky
And I
Tuition
would
Grant
assume
money.
they're eligible for students are eligible for Pell Grants.
I believe so.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Seeing no further questions, Mariah, please call the roll.
Representative Baker? Representative Banta?
Yes.
Representative Bojanowski?
Yes.
Representative Carney? Representative Decker?
Yes.
Representative Donahue?
Yes, ma'am.
Representative Dawsett?
Yes.
Representative Lewis?
Yes.
Representative Massey?
Yes.
Representative McCool?
Yes.
Representative Miller? Representative Gibbons-Prunty?
Yes.
Representative Rayburn? Representative Riley?
Yes.
Representative Scott?
Yes.
Representative Timoney?
Yes.
Representative Tipton?
Yes.
Representative Weber?
Yes.
Representative White? Representative Wilner? Chair Huff?
Yes. Senate Bill 270 passes with expression of opinion that the same should pass. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee.
Thank you. Representative Massey. Now, I didn't dismiss you yet. No. Get right back up here until I tell you that we're ready to go. Now, this is classroom management. This is classroom management, and you are harder to manage than any classroom that I've had. No, I'm just kidding. Hopefully, this is our last meeting of this session. It's been a pleasure to chair this group most of the time. But anyone has any questions or comments, we'll adjourn. Motion to adjourn.